and gentlemen, it is not an over-exaggeration to say that today, Napheesa Collier just changed the WNBA forever. Tyler, Greer, Shawnee here. And this is about as emergency of a video as it can possibly get. No idea that this was going to happen today. But ladies and gentlemen, Napheesa Collier had her exit interview and came prepared with a statement. And this is a statement that has rocked the WNBA. Cathy Engelbert's comments have been exposed about the referees, about Caitlin Clark, about where the WNBA is going next, and we are here to break it all down. Because I think this quote right here to get us started off, and we're gonna talk about it. But this is summing up what we're about to get into. We have the best league in the world, we have the best fans in the world, but we have the worst leadership in the world. Fee went scorched earth. And before we dive into the exact comments, Greer, paint this picture for us. I know you got your like sticky note here of things. There's plenty of things.
My thing mostly is that the Lynx aren't playing anymore, but they're still fighting. Fighting like hell. Because between Cheryl's being fined $15,000 for her conduct and comments about the officiating, right? $15,000 is the largest fine that we have ever seen
in WNBA
history, right?
Ain't got nothing to do with me, and that hurt.
You know, her assistants Eric Tebow and Rebecca Brunson were each fined $500 for their comments post game, and then Becky Hammond and Stephanie White were fined $1,000 apiece for their verbal support of Cheryl, right? And so it's shaping up to be like a everybody versus Cathy kind of thing. Right. That's what it feels like to me. Very much one band, one sound with the people who are talking right now, who have the mic right now. But yeah, this is, I fear, an indictment on Cathy's entire tenure as WNBA commissioner up to this point. It's been about her first season was the bubble season. Am I right?
I believe so. Yes.
First season was the bubble season, and yes, experienced like unprecedented growth in that time, but player relations and coaching seem to be worse than ever.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, you're now kind of getting it from all fronts, and we've certainly heard players call out Cathy. Like, we've even joked about it on here, being like, "Damn, they just be using Cathy's first name." Like, it's like on the NBA side, they kind of like they might refer generally to the league. They call out Cathy by name. Like, we've seen that plenty, especially with like scheduling and things of that nature this season, and certainly in past seasons with like the charter flights before those came around and things of that nature. But this is the most direct attack, if you will, at the commissioner and at the league that we have maybe ever seen in this way. And especially coming from a player like Napheesa Collier, who's one of the best players of the world, who has certainly the backing of her coach in this, right? And obviously everything, as you mentioned, Greer, that has been happening. Certainly you have the unrivaled of this all, and I'm sure that's going to be a part of his discourse as well. Obviously, Fee has run a league of her own now, has had a successful season where you go and talk with all these partners.
This joint easy. You suck.
Like, she's done all of this, right? And Cathy has not, I mean, from the coach of the year, mispronouncing the name of Natalie Nakase. Like, I mean, you go, Shawnee, Shawnee, you were bringing up a thing pre-show. Like, this goes back.
Yeah, to like Chicago All-Star Weekend. It 100%. Sucked from just, all accounts. And then she said there was like a safety concern. It was like some coded language talking about safety in Chicago. Mind you, it's a Chance the Rapper concert. So I'm like, she acting like they posted up on O Block, doing the fan concert, and it's like Chance the Rapper down like in the downtown area or by the arena. It's like, can you relax a little? Like, the way she said it was coded, and I wrote this a while back. So like and subscribe so you don't miss anything. But I wrote like she's in kind of a dangerous territory already, because you go back to Lisa Borders, right? I hated her. I was the sawtooth to her Cathy back then. And I remember like when the Black Lives Matter stuff is happening and they wear the shirts, and she was like threatening to fine them. And the players was like, I know you lying. And then she was like, nah, you right. Just kidding, guys. And
you got me.
And so Lisa Borders had an unceremonious exit with some marred with scandal. And I was saying, like, Cathy kind of has to like be careful that she doesn't go full Borders, because when she tried to charge them for standing up, yes, it's in the CBA, which is also a problem, but like you gotta know who you're talking to. And it's like that's where we kind of got to talk about it, because what is the commissioner's job here? It's not to be friends with the players per se, but like, what do they see like what do they want from leadership that they haven't gotten the last couple commissioners? Because we've been running through them, and all of them had some sort of issue with talking about, oh, I got the players' numbers. I think that was Border. She was like, I got the players' numbers, and they were like, we still don't like you. Like, your number's still coming up as unknown.
It ain't saved in my phone. Like,
hey, and to be quite clear, Cathy's number is not saved in a few phones. From what we heard this
season. Can't call the right all-stars.
You know what I'm saying?
Like it's silly stuff that has gone wrong. On
it's
top of the big things.
On top of the big things, and then the biggest thing, which is like player safety, right? Sure. Which is like, this is how they are athletes. This is how they make their money, right? So can we get into what Napheesa actually said and revealed?
Let's
one of the things is that she has several torn ligaments, right?
Yeah.
So everybody was waiting for that news to come out, and obviously Minnesota's season is over, but she's going to have to spend the offseason rehabbing an injury that, yes, fluke things happen, but again, the physicality with which players are allowed to play in this league, injuries happen. Injuries are going to happen.
Yeah, we can dive into some of these now. This is kind of the bullet points here of the entire press conference. And this is where the curtain has been fully pulled back on, and we'll have a couple more like expanded clips on some of these points. But just to kind of get us kicked off here, Collier said Cathy Engelbert told her only losers complain about the refs.
That's not funny, but like,
can't
believe she was running around like she was Pac. Like, God,
crazy. You mentioned the couple torn ligaments there, and I'm saving that middle one for a reason. We go to battle every day to protect the shield for a league that doesn't value us, and that certainly feels like the feeling across the players right now, and especially, I mean, this probably just finalizes our lockout right here. These quotes, like, I mean, I don't know how you can successfully negotiate in the short amount of time you already had after all of this happens, where one of your leaders and big voices like this in Fee comes out like this, and not wrongfully so, but just in general, like this complicates things a lot. But that second one right there is something I'm sure people are going to be very interested to talk about. Collier said Engelbert told her that Caitlin Clark should be grateful for the WNBA because the league is responsible for her sponsorship deals. And I have, before we dive into the full discourse of that, this is that clip right here from Napheesa Collier.
I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. I also asked,
do you hear that? On their knees thanking, on top of the initial thing, which I also find interesting. If Fee did come in and was like, hey, these three players, and Cathy said this one player should be, like that, like the difference in not including Paige and Angel within that is like also kind of intriguing. But just that language alone, let alone the actual like statement itself and what that means. On your knees saying thank you, groveling at the feet of the league and at Cathy to be thankful for what Cathy has done for them is insane behavior.
And I more so back to Shani's point about, what is her place in this league? She speaks for ownership. That's the other piece of this. You are a servant leader. You're not
a manager.
This is not your company.
You are the assistant to the regional manager.
You know what I'm saying?
You're supposed to kind of be the bridge between everybody here.
Yeah. And for me, it's kind of like, and it's not to like question Fee's credibility, but like if she did say that, like, why did you think like Fee wouldn't tell you? Wouldn't tell us? Like you got comfortable on that stud bud stream, and now I thought people would
come a long way from cha-cha sliding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like, why would you say something like that and not think that it wouldn't be used against you? Like that to me is just like even in a boardroom, like you come from a business sector.
Sure.
would you say that to somebody coming to you with concerns and think like it's not going to be used in a case against you? Like, that's where I'm kind of like, did you really get that comfortable with stud buds and think you buddy with the league? Because like they don't like you. Because that and then to that point about like we go to bat every day to protect the shield for the league. That also I'm kind of like, no, y'all don't. Y'all have been kind of complaining like every day for the last couple of years. Like, how many videos have we gotten from the airport talking about Foot was stranded? How many, you know, behind the scenes complaints have we gotten about like what's going on in different sectors? So and to be clear, I understand doing that. That's how you shake stuff up. But like, I guess to say like we protect the league and the league doesn't protect us, I'm like,
I guess to me, maybe
let's focus on the second part.
Yeah. I think if anything, maybe it's like the way I can see that statement making sense is like if they're protecting the league in the sense of like wanting the league to be better. So like that's their like in trying to force that betterment is like the protection and like the advancement potentially. But I don't disagree with what you're saying on that. Like, yeah, I don't like if you're trying to kind of spin it to the player side on that. But I mean, holy shit, guys! Like this is like and
also to Shani's point, we do need to recognize a little bit of the gamesmanship too, right? Angel Reese and Paige Beckers are going to be playing in Unrivaled. They have attempted to woo Caitlin Clark to play in Unrivaled, at least in season 1 they did. Don't know about season 2, but again, I think I heard like something like the offers always
an open invite, yeah.
Right. So yes, to Shani's point, like as much as Fee is a player and an athlete, she's also a businesswoman too. Right. And so just acknowledging that there are two sides to every coin. Nothing should be taken in a vacuum.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will say on behalf of like CCFC, like, God dang, bro, like, why are we in this? Like
crazy, right?
Like they needed to be in it though. I remember saying like when they were coming into the league in 2024 that it was time for the WNBA to treat these young women as the true partners that they are.
Well, no, not like in a why did you bring this up, but just like that is such a wicked stray. And it's also like wildly untrue. So now there's going to be this whole discourse and discussion about like, what do you mean you're taking credit for Caitlin Clark's success financially off the court when on the court, like you don't like they was running the incorrect clips of hers. Remember when Sabrina got player of the month, week, whatever, and they ran Caitlin clips?
Yeah,
like
amongst many other times that things like that.
Yeah, like there has been, you know, you have WNBA spaces, and it's like the people on there you could tell they didn't care for Caitlin. And you have this discourse on major networks where ESPN is running, you know, rookie rankings, and they're basing it on win shares, you know, top rookies based on win shares. No, and that was at the time when the Fever were 1-9. And we haven't seen those type of articles ran since, especially since Paige was on her team went like 0-10. So it's like you had discourse where it felt like people were trying to course correct because Fox News got involved. So now we don't want to give her too much hype. But then you see like Major League Soccer, NBA, any other person that she, you know, interacts with, that league immediately is like, hey, you know, great to see Caitlin. Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. And it's like, I understand there had to be a balance. So that's why leaning into the rivalry was stupid, because you don't protect either player. You don't make sure either player is treated, you know, respectfully in this rivalry. And if that is a thing where we don't have enough people working media or whatever the case may be, nobody was ready for this moment. And I remember saying this, that nobody, like there were a number of things that needed to happen for this boom to work, and none of them did. Nobody was ready. There were no safeguards in place. There was nothing in place to, you know, because like apparently like Antonio Brown is on Twitter sexually harassing Caitlin and then still allowed to like show up at a game. Stuff like that cannot happen. You know, you cannot have Barstool Dan doing his thing and representing what he represents. And then we see college sports ban him from their premises and you let him on courtside. that can't stuff like that. You gotta like reel it in. So I don't understand saying like, oh, you should be thankful for what we've done in the platform we've given it. And she's been treated like dirt from Jump Street. Because and the players union is not, exempt from this too, because y'all leaked her rookie of the year in a statement about anti-bullying. So we found out she won rookie of the year in that statement on accident, and there was nothing done to really correct any of that. So I'm kind of like, I don't understand. You can't say stuff like that when you don't actively interact with people in a way that would give you credentials for that. Like I don't understand that.
Yeah, I also think it's just such a dated thing to say with NIL existing. Like we were actively fighting the fight.
As a millionaire.
We were actively fighting like she's not going to lose money in the W. We were actively having to like dispel that rhetoric and that.
And that's another thing, right? Like, oof, right?
Like, that's national legislation. Like that was a legal matter.
This isn't 20 years ago where like you could say that in the sense of like just from a legal perspective. Yeah, if the professional league doesn't exist, you're not having this platform. That's not the same world. Caitlin could have stayed another year and would have, I promise you, would have had those same spots. I promise you. Like so it's such a dated thing to say, and it's just factually incorrect. But like to Shawnee's point, not being prepared for this moment of these. I mean, you knew. Like Caitlin, when she was coming in, you knew what Caitlin was bringing, right? You knew what Angel Reese was bringing. Even Paige, right? Like in this following year, you knew what was coming with these type of names coming. And not one aspect of the league was prepared. That should be enough to put question marks around Cathy. And that's not even getting into any of the questionable, any of the problematic, anything else that is layered on top of
there have been many.
Exactly.
There have been many.
And so it's gotten now to I don't see it's unless the owners are
fast forward, right?
I don't see it unless the owners are absolutely forcing Cathy like to like want Cathy as that person and wants. But in this CBA year, I don't see how you continue with Cathy as the commissioner right now. I don't see the path.
And yeah, again, like we are students of like history and major American pro sports. I cannot recall a time in my lifetime with all the shit that's happened in the NFL. I cannot recall a time where somebody said Roger Goodell, blah 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 blah.
Not like this.
I cannot.
Not like this.
The Kaepernick thing, right? Like,
yeah,
I cannot recall a time. Adam Silver or David Stern, I cannot recall a time. Gary Bettman of the NHL, I cannot recall a time. Rob Manfred or who was the guy? Tagliabue? No, Tagliabue was the old NFL. I forgot who the old NFL MLB was before, but. And MLB is like the most notoriously powerful players association, right? In American sports. I cannot recall a time where
not a prepared
a top 2 or 3 star in your league is directly
called. Letting the chopper sing, acquire.
I got another clip.
Okay.
I'm gonna share my screen real quick.
You can do that, or you could put it in the chat, whichever. Yeah, I
pulled it up, but this one is kind of interesting to me.
I'm sure that they will find me. I mean,
there we go. There we go.
Now, so.
Wait, start that one again. Start that one again.
Yeah, do it again.
My bad.
Oh, they're good.
I'm sure that they will find me. I mean, seems like anything with free speech is fine now. So.
Anything with what?
Anything with free speech
is fine now.
First Amendment fee. First Amendment fee.
So even with that, right? Like that you can't like.
There has to be like guardrails here in between of like generally.
Y'all gotta talk. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like they're being fined for bashing officiating, which has been like
it's been the thing always.
Yeah, that's been a thing. So it's not like they said, their political beliefs and they got fined for it. So I don't particularly like conflating the two. Like when you speak out against officiating, you always know you're going to get a fine. Like that's always a thing in press. Like how much you trying to get me fined? Oh, I'm not trying to get fined right now. Like that's always been a thing. So to make it sound like this was just a matter of opinion no, you spoke out, rightfully so, with knowing that there would be consequences. So that's where I'm kind of like, we gotta reel it in a little bit, just a tad bit, because I'm pro worker, I'm pro union, pro power to the people and whatnot. But like, we gotta let's do this the right way, please.
Yeah. No, I think that's something that's kind of interesting. Like, even like kind of pulling it back to where we started this with Cheryl Reeve, right? And like, that was an all-time crash out. Like realistically speaking, like, and like that was like, so like it was an unprecedented crash out with unprecedented consequences. Now you can say that the fine for a WNBA level fine is still like too much. I'm okay with hearing that, but in terms of it being a record fine and being suspended, I mean, she like those were unprecedented things that she did. I have no problem with that, and so like I don't disagree with you at all, Sean, in the sense of like there is still, I guess, like the everyday
you're not freedom from consequence. You can
sure,
say
100%, and but that's also that's why you kind of do these. Like that's the power of these things, is that the consequences are attached to it, or everyone would be doing it. Like that. Right. That's what makes these type of things so powerful. I get like in a moment like this. So I'm with you though, Sean, in the sense of like it's not like they're not targeting Minnesota.
It's not like Lisa Borders, where they wore the Black Lives Matter shirts. They're speaking out on behalf, against police brutality and things of that nature. And she said, "I'm gonna fine you for that." Yeah. Now different. We gotta, because like that's when it's like, okay, but even that, again, I believe that's still, that language is still in their CBA. So that's something that needs to be taken out like immediately, or that could get real ugly. But yeah, I don't like conflating this. But I will say, like, going back to All-Star, there was always that disconnect, because when like Cathy said flat out, like, when you look at the amount of injuries and the frequency of injuries, it's not far off from last year. And I was like, everybody was okay. All right, that's a little interesting, but like I feel like they backed themselves into a tiny bit of a corner, because whenever something happened to Caitlin Clark, there was a gross overreaction from right-wing media that had no good intentions with the conversations they were having. So then there was another reaction from people closer to the W space to say, like, it's a physical league, when it should have been like, nah, some of this stuff is a little wild, and they are doing it because, she's an up-and-coming rookie, and they do, you can be honest about it and say, like, y'all need to get away from my sport. Like, keep Outkick and all of them. Like, all of y'all are doing way too much. And, like, no, it's not assault. Like, stop. Like, we should have been able to say, like, two things are true here. But instead, you get, like, it's a physical league. Weight room. Stop complaining. Stop crying. And now Fee has, like, torn ligaments and tendons. Yeah. And I'm not saying...
Cathy saying, black versus white is great for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah. But it's like, there's a way that could have been done. Because if you're saying, like,
But okay, yeah, there's a way, but she didn't do that, so I'm not going to give her the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Head honcho. You have to know the power of your words and when you speak.
Yeah, that's like if we actually tried to do something and tried to protect the players and was like, no, like Caitlin versus Angel is must see television, because like it was. There are two opposing forces that 100%. Are very like that.
It was fantastic. The entertainment was peak. Yeah. It was awesome.
But it's like two very large fan bases. So like I understand seeing the dollar signs in that, but it's like you can't just say like, yes, Fox News, come jump in and put a bet in and like you gotta. There's a way you do that, and there's been a way to do this whole time. And I'm talking about even with Caitlin, like what we try and do here. Right. We knew there were new eyeballs. So it's like, we're going to educate you. We're going to steer the conversations in the way that we think they need to go. So that way, when you are arguing and having, like, we're not doing all of that extra stuff. And you are now learning about the league that you just, came into and became a fan of. The league never did that. The league has never really been good at telling its story. And I said that too. And they like put that all on like, oh, well, Caitlin should say something and Caitlin should do like, no. You needed to like advocate for more media people, so that like the socials are okay now. we're seeing better social presentation on the official account. But like, if you needed that, like, there should have been, stories should have been told, history should have been shared. Like, they're go in the vault. Stuff should have happened and it didn't. So I like a lot of this is like, we had conflicting stuff last year because it was fumbled and nobody was ready for the moment. So now Cathy's going to try and course correct, and I don't like it. And there are some quotes that she's going to be able to use, and I don't like that either. So it's just it's a weird situation all the way around.
Well, the finals begin on Friday, right? Don't the commissioners typically before the game one of the finals address the media?
They do normally.
So
I think we're going to find out more here.
4 days to come up with something and not put her foot in her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The last time we heard from her, she was mispronouncing a coach's name. So
for a major award, bro, like bro, and at that point, like, the season's over. So it's not like at the very beginning of the season when it still would have been egregious, because like, why didn't you ask somebody? But like, she's been in the media 44 games now, almost 50 games because of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah. No, there's been a whole lot of missteps, and Napheesa Collier has shined a light on many of those today. And again, we'll see what comes next. We'll certainly be here to talk about it whenever that does happen, but it doesn't feel like an over-exaggeration to say that Napheesa Collier has changed the WNBA today and where we might be heading next in terms of CBA negotiations with Cathy Engelbert's job. Who knows, frankly, what might be coming next. So we got to stay tapped in here with No Cap Space. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be live tonight. Playoff-a-thon continues. We'll see who's going to the WNBA finals between the Aces and the Fever. And of course, we'll be live after every finals game as well. And then we're right into the college season. So a ton going on here on NoCapSpace, WBB.com, and here on the YouTube. So make sure you like, subscribe, all that stuff. You can find every link in the description below. And we will see you tonight if you're watching this on time. And if not, very soon.